Hello, everyone. A little nervous up here. Everyone's staring at me, so should have been a little bit more prepared. But I have some scribbles, so I'm just going to try to keep
You
according
don't
to the
have a
outline.
sample?
I didn't bring a sample.
Okay.
I sell insurance services, so I am the sample. I guess I should tell you how I started my company, Wristblock. It was right after college. It was really hard to get a job right after college. The market was just so saturated. At the time I graduated, it was really saturated. Everyone was getting laid off, and I was competing with people who had 20 years of experience for the same position that I was going into. So I decided I want to start my own business, and naturally, insurance was one of the things that I wanted to go because my parents, they worked for MetLife for over 20 years, so I've been with them on sales call, I've did the clerical work, I've seen insurance bought, sold, used, and I believe in the product, and I've seen it work. So I'm passionate about selling the insurance to people who actually need it. So I didn't have any money. The only thing I had was a professional camera and my car. I sold my car and my camera for $7,000, and I started my business back in 2010, I think, 2010. I started the business doing what everyone would do, research online, trying to find clients, and I've noticed the biggest struggle for an insurance agency was getting an insurance contract. And what that means is having an insurance carrier company believe in you and giving you full authority to write business. Without that, you have to go to an intermediary, a third party. You had to go through all these hoops, and more or less, it will take about 3 to 4 days to get a quote back, and then 3 or 4 days to actually get the insurance sold. And in my line of business, time, I think in all business, time kills all deals. So it was a very difficult struggle to compete with the insurance agencies down the block who had that authority, who you go in and you're leaving with an insurance policy where I had to convince you needed 3 or 4 days for me to get back to you on the pricing and on the policy. So my biggest goal was to get a insurance contract with any insurance company so that I can be competitive in the market. It took me about 3 years to get that contract. I found one company on year 2 who was going to give me an interview, not the contract, and they came down and ultimately they said, no, you're too inexperienced, we don't trust you, I've never seen you do any good work, there's no track record to prove. So I didn't give up there. I kept their contact, I cold called her, I think twice, every month, just to let them know I'm still in business, I'm still interested. And after 3 years at one of these conferences, insurance conferences, I met another person who was in the insurance industry in that organization. And at the bar, we were just kind of talking, and I said, I've actually tried, and I'm still trying to get this contract. And he told me that they were actually looking to expand their territory and looking to award one contract. And I said, oh, can you put in a good word for me? And I didn't know this person at all. The next day, that person that I've been cold calling every month for the 3 years actually called me back and said, you know what, we heard your name pop up, we are expanding, and we want to give a contract out now this year, so they were looking to expand. So they came out, gave me the interview after 6 months, background checks, looking at the track records, everything. They finally awarded me the contract, but one of the criteria was that I moved to New Rochelle. I live in Brooklyn. That's a 2.5-hour drive. I made the decision to take it because without that contract, I don't think I would have survived in the business. So initially, for the first 3 years, I drove back and forth every day. I woke up at 4 a.m. and I drove to New Rochelle, start the business, 7 p.m., go back home. I never saw my wife. So I did that for about 2 years, and that's when everything changed. I got the direct contract. I had the full authority to actually place the business on the spot if I wanted to, within my authority, my underwriting abilities. That's when I started growing pretty quickly, but I was stuck. I had a good amount of clients, but I would get one client, but I would lose 2 clients. Or I would get 3 clients, I would lose 1 client, and I was pretty much just stuck, and I ended up spending 20 hours at the office every day, just on the computer, just servicing. I couldn't even get out of the chair. So that's when I reached out to SCORE and said, I'm in the growth phase. I really have no idea what I'm doing. I'm doing everything. Advertisement, marketing, accounting, blogging. Someone said blogging earlier. Just basically everything to run the business. I was wearing many, many different hats. I went to SCORE and they assigned me my advisor, Glenn Shell, and he was able to kind of walk me through it, listen to my problems, and kind of just said, you really have to delegate your work. You have to assign and hire a secretary, assistant, marketing team, accounting, and being a business owner, it's very hard to do that. It's very hard to let go. I'm a perfectionist, so nothing is good enough, so I'm always tinkering, and that's really why I wasn't growing. When I finally said, it's 20 hours a day is too much, plus the 4.5-hour drive round trip, it was a little bit too much. So I said, let's just hire someone, jump all in, and that really changed the business model. I was able to, after I hired my assistant to take off the back-end clerical work, which she's at the office right now, that's why I'm here, I was able to hire 3 more people, and now I'm able to actually just focus on one thing, which is finding new clients and building relationships. And the business is growing at a steady pace, and we're growing every day. And I work, still 10 hours a day, but I don't have to if I don't want to, and I don't really have to worry about the business. It's on automation, I guess you can say, with the employees at the office. So now, that's how SCORE has helped me, and with the delegation and having staff in place, and I probably make 3 times more than what I started before I moved to New Rochelle, which is great. I think that's it.
Oh, thank you.
I hope that was a good story.